Oh, hello. In today's video, we're going to talk about the Bloodied kill team. So the Bloodied kill team is another large horde-style team that uses Imperial weapons. We're kind of chomping through these at the moment on the channel, and like a lot of the teams we've covered recently, it has a main pool of operatives and then like a pool of specialists that it can pull from as well. They have the infiltration and the seek and destroy archetypes. It's pretty good. I think you can credibly flex between both of these with this team. There's a couple of different things that you can do, although I do have one clear archetype that I want to try first of all if I was to play a Bloodied kill team. You have to take a Chieftan, he's your leader. Now he has the following options: auto pistol or las pistol, chainsword or power weapon, or you can have a bolt pistol and chainsword loadout, a bolt gun and bayonet loadout, or a plasma pistol and improvised blade loadout. But check out that little number 2. That's shared with the gunner with bayonet and plasma gun. You cannot select this option and this operative. In other words, you can only have one operative with a plasma weapon. So this being the case, we definitely want the plasma gun, so we can just dismiss out of hand the plasma pistol improvised blade option. So that being said, we're going to go for the power weapon. Power weapons are amazing. Auto pistol versus las pistol is a cosmetic choice for you to make when you're building your miniature. They literally have the same profile. Okay, good. This team, like a number of the teams we've reviewed recently, has what I'm calling the gunner pool. So it has several operatives that are pooled together that you can select a limited number of. In this case, you've got the gunner with bayonet and flamer, the gunner with bayonet and grenade launcher, the gunner with bayonet and melter gun, the gunner with bayonet and plasma gun, and the sharpshooter. You're stuck with 3. Off the top of my head for this introduction slide, I think you want to go for the sharpshooter, the plasma gun, and the melter gun. Although I am open to the debate, sharpshooter versus grenade launcher. Do you know, we've been talking about sniper versus grenade launcher in a number of these videos now, and it's never an open and shut case because all of the sniper models seem to be slightly different in different ways, whether that was because, you know, the hit stats less of the buff or whatever else, but we'll talk about that when we get onto the relevant slide. I don't think the grenade launcher is wrong. I don't think you're going to have a bad time if you prefer the grenade launcher to the sharpshooter. That might even be the optimal choice, but my pick is the sharpshooter. Then you've got a bunch of other specialists: the Brimstone Grenadier, the Butcher, the Commsman, the Flenser, the Thug, the Trench Sweeper, the Trooper, and the Corpseman. Now you'll notice the Corpseman is in weird font up here because they forgot to print the Corpseman on the card. So if you're in an environment that's playing, strict rules as written, every single typo taken as if canon law, then you can't use the Corpseman, which would be a shame because the Corpseman's a pretty good operative. So I then have the pool of specialists, so you can have 4 slots effectively. You could take the Enforcer, he takes 2 slots, the Ogryn, he takes 2 slots, or you can take 4 troopers. Personally, I don't think you ever take the troopers. I think you're taking the Enforcer and the Ogryn all the time forever, because they're cool. In the previous edition of the game, people used to always say take the troopers because there were loads more objectives, blah, 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 blah. One of the things I like about Bloodied is it is definitely viable, if not perhaps the best. I think it might be the best to take the Enforcer and the Ogryn. Absolutely. Right, your faction rule: Bloodied tokens. The Bloodied seek to earn the favour of malign warp entities by hurling themselves into combat and slaying the most potent foes. Should they die in the attempt, their souls may serve as acceptable sacrifices. So, you gain a Bloodied token in the ready step of each strategy phase, so that's every single turn. At the very start of each turn, you're going to get a Bloodied token. You're also going to get a Bloodied token the first time an enemy operative is incapacitated during each turning point, so kill somebody, gain a Bloodied token, and the first time an enemy operative is incapacitated within 6 of an enemy operative, first time a friendly operative is incapacitated within 6 of an enemy operative during each turning point. So 1 for killing somebody, 1 for having somebody be killed close to the enemy, and 1 for turning up, as they say. As a strategic gambit, so at the start of the turn, right, you can assign, but Which comes first, the ready step of the strategy phase, or the strategic? I think it might be the ready step. So I think you can assign that first, yeah. So you can assign that first Bloodied token in turn 1 to a miniature, which is a great thing. A great thing. So in the as a strategic gambit, you can assign any of your unassigned Bloodied tokens to friendly Bloodied operatives. Each operative cannot have more than one of your Bloodied tokens. Then, if 4 or more of your friendly operatives in the kill zone have one of your Bloodied tokens, you can select one of them to be under gaze of the gods until the end of your turning point. So, what do they actually do? Well, whenever a friendly Bloodied operative has one of your Bloodied tokens, its weapons have accurate 1, so they're getting an automatic hit, which is pretty good because they're generally hitting on a 4. And then while it's under gaze of the gods, you can retain one of your normal successes as a result of the accurate 1 special rule as a critical instead. So in other words, you get a guaranteed crit. So you're trying to, as you play the game, you're trying to gain a currency called Bloodied tokens, and then you spend the Bloodied tokens once per each operative to essentially to upgrade that operative, to ascend that operative, okay? And when that operative has been upgraded with the token, it gets an automatic hit. And once per turn, you can pick one of the ones from your pool of upgraded operatives to instead retain automatically a crit. Now, that happens in the strategic gambit phase as well. So you determine the gaze of your gods at that same point. So at the very first start of the very first turn, you can go, you're my guy, I've got a Bloodied token, I get 1 for free, I give it to somebody, and they're the gaze of the gods guy. Interesting. It's a very wordy ability, and it sounds difficult, but once you've played it once or twice, I don't think it's something you'll find complicated. It's actually less complicated than some other faction abilities, I think. Strategy ploys, let's go through these. Glory kill. By bringing down the strongest and most capable of enemies, the Bloodied may provide a worthy offering to the ruinous powers. Select one enemy operative visible to a friendly Bloodied operative. Until the end of the turning point, whenever a friendly Bloodied operative is shooting against, fighting against, or retaliating against that enemy operative, its weapons have the ceaseless weapon rule, or relentless if that shooting, fighting, or retaliating operative has one of your Bloodied tokens. I think that's a great ploy, especially if you're against somebody like Marines, where you're like, no, we just, our goal for this turn is just to kill that one. Right, so everybody gets rerolls against him. That's a really great way of doing it, right? So, often a lot of teams you have to spend a CP to give somebody relentless, right? And that's your CP. Effectively give this model relentless. But now you're going to give your entire team relentless versus one opponent. That's pretty good. Reckless aspirant. No coward can earn glory. The Bloodied are waiting to risk life and limb in pursuit of malefic warp powers. Whenever a friendly Bloodied operative that's wholly within your opponent's territory and doesn't have one of your Bloodied tokens is shooting or fighting, its weapons have the accurate 1 weapon rule. Okay, so you have to be within your opponent's territory, but otherwise you have accurate 1. And then whenever a friendly Bloodied operative that has one of your Bloodied tokens is wholly within your opponent's territory, instead you have punishing. So, not instead, sorry, I invented that. It's in addition, so you have accurate 1 and you can have punishing as well. That's pretty good. Could be really powerful. It synergizes with the Overrun Tac Op. Spoilers, I think this team wants to play with Overrun. We'll go through why on the Tac Op slide, but this is just one of a couple of different things that they have that benefit them for hanging out in the opponent's territory. The next one is the same story, though. It's Malevolent Grit. Those that have earned the favour of the Dark Gods of Chaos may draw upon the warp to predict and avoid the bullets of their foes. Whenever an operative is shooting a friendly Bloodied operative that has one of your Bloodied tokens or is wholly within your opponent's territory, you can reroll your defense dice. So, rerolling a defense dice is pretty okay. It's not the best, it's not the best buff, but you've got the points, it's fine. But it's another cheeky little bonus for being in your opponent's territory, right? Which is nice. Bitter demise. Consumed by hatred, the Bloodied spit, curse, and lash out as they die, screaming aggrieved words of heresy as they land a final strike upon the foe. Whenever a friendly Bloodied operative is incapacitated, roll 1d3 on a 3-up or a 2-up. If that friendly operative has one of your Bloodied tokens, inflict damage equal to the result on the enemy operative visible to and within 2 of that friendly operative. Lame. Like, you're spending a CP so that when your guys die, they have a chance of doing 2 or 3 damage. I think it seems pretty bad. Maybe late game, you know, if you've got a bunch of guys on a small number of wounds, and people are charging them, you know, it's a tool in your toolbox, and I can see that you might situationally want to be like, oh yeah, actually, this is going to be really good, but it doesn't sing to me. One thing I'm noticing about the strategy ploys is I'm not really wanting any of them on turning point 1, I don't think. So I don't think you're going to be using the scouting phase option that gets you a free strategy ploy. FireFight Ploys. Callous disregard. Pity is a trait for the weak. The Bloodied will gladly turn their guns upon their own kin if doing so will ensure the destruction of an enemy. Use this FireFight ploy when a friendly Bloodied operative performs a shoot action and you've selected a valid target. Having other friendly Bloodied operatives within an enemy operative's control range doesn't prevent that enemy operative from being selected. Until the end of that action, whenever you discard an attack dice as a fail, inflict damage equal to the dice result on one friendly operative of your choice within control range of the target. Amazing, you can shoot into combat. The evil, vicious, fascistic Imperial Guard don't get to do this, but the sort of Cthulhu-worshipping Chaos Fellows do. Fine, yeah, but it's awesome, so you should do it all the time. Yeah, that's what 40k is, that's cool. Moment of Repute. When infused with a portion of the Dark God's power, the Bloodied are lent infernal speed and aggression. Use this FireFight ploy during the activation of a friendly Bloodied operative that's under the gaze of the gods. Before or after it performs an action, until the end of that operative's activation, add 1 to its APL stats. So, yeah. The other reason, so 1 model per turn, from the first turn onwards, because you can have a Bloodied token out at the start of turn 1. 1 model per turn can, for a CP, have 3 APL, which is pretty neat, I'm going to say. Like, pretty neat, right? Reward earned. The surest way to get the attention of the ruinous powers is to draw blood in their name, apparently. Use this FireFight ploy when an enemy operative is incapacitated by a friendly Bloodied operative within 2 inches of it that has one of your Bloodied tokens. You gain a Bloodied token. This is pretty good. Lets you get an extra Bloodied token. Obviously, it's FireFight ploy, so it's only once per turn. So you're trading a CP for an extra Bloodied token, which is okay. Good news is you have equipment that makes this one free. So you're always taking that piece of equipment, and then you just don't, then it's just, hey, I can have an extra Bloodied token a turn if I manage to kill somebody within 2 with someone else that's already Bloodied. That's pretty nice. And then finally, Dark Favour. Those who have spilled the blood of the foe and earned the favour of their infernal patron may be spared from death as long as another pays the price in their stead. Use this FireFight ploy when a friendly Bloodied operative that has one of your Bloodied tokens is selected as the valid target of a shoot action or to fight against during the fight action. Select one other friendly Bloodied operative visible to within 3 of that first friendly operative to become the valid target to be fought against as appropriate. Instead, even if it wouldn't normally be valid for this, if it's the fight action, treat that other operative as being within the fighting operative's control range for the duration of the action. This ploy has no effect if it's a shoot action and the ranged weapon has blast or torrent. So, the stupid thing about this, it's themed as being a defensive thing, right? So, someone's going to shoot and kill this guy who's really key to my plans. Oh, well, I'll have the damage fall onto this other guy instead and he dies instead. But It works in the fight phase, and you have an Ogryn. So now, your Ogryn stands in the middle. Right, correct me if I'm wrong. Your Ogryn stands in the middle, and then in a 3-inch bubble around him, you have a pile of other guys who are like, well, if you do a fight action on me, you'll actually have to do a fight action against this Ogryn, who will then put his Ogryn hand through your face and eat your eyes. And so, if somebody lets you... Does it have to be... Select and one other friendly blooded operative visible to within 3 of that first friendly operative. So you could, like... If the situation arose, you could even charge someone. You could have an Ogryn that's in combat even, and it could just take a moment out of its combat to be in another combat. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. And so I think you're going to have your Ogryn going around with some of your other close combat guys and keep them together in a big ball. That would be quite fun. Right, on to the data card. So here's your Chieftain, and also here's our look at the stat line for the Bloodied. So they're a standard human team, APL 2, 6-inch move, 5 up save, and they have 7 wounds, and our Chieftain has 8, because he's the leader, gets that extra special shiny leader wound. As previously discussed, you're going to take the auto pistol, 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 2-3 range 8, to unlock the power weapon, 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 4-6 lethal 5, or you could have a las pistol. It's exactly the same stat lines. Now he has 2 abilities. First one, Bloodied Icon. Once per turning point, when a friendly blooded operative that has one of your blooded tokens is incapacitated, if this operative is within 6, you can regain that token. I think that's going to become a pretty important ability for your team, just for keeping your blooded token engine going, right? And then secondly, you've got Lead with Strength. Whenever this operative has one of your blooded tokens and is wholly within your opponent's territory, treat it as if it's under gaze of the gods. So another thing we're seeing, a third thing where we're benefiting from being in our opponent's territory, which is why I like the Tac Op that I like for this team. The Corpseman, the one that you, rules as written, can't use, but we'll hopefully ignore that. He has the standard profile, and a standard lasgun, and a standard bayonet. He also has the stim needle, which is 3 dice hitting on 5s, 1-4 damage lethal 4 up, which is, is okay. Especially if someone's just on 4 health, I guess. Don't know. He's really there for his buffs, right? So he has regular dosage. At the start of the select operative step, if this operative is selected for deployment, you can select one of the friendly blooded operative to gain the stim rule for the battle, excluding rejuvenated. So the stim rule, so when you stim someone, I'll tell you what, I'll read the stims action first, and then we'll go back up. That makes more sense. Stims, 1 AP, select one friendly blooded operative within this operative's control range, and then select the rejuvenated stim rule or one other stim rule for that operative's have for the battle. You cannot select each stim rule for each operative more than once per battle, and you can't perform the action while within range of an enemy operative. So what can you do? You can heal the 3 lost wounds, that's rejuvenated. You've got enraged, the operative's melee weapons have relentless, okay, or fortified, which is whenever an attack dice deals damage of 3 or more to the operative, roll a d6 on a 5, subtract 1 from that inflicted damage. I think what you want to do is run around giving up relentless, to your fighters. I think that's pretty good on a team that's generally hampered by low hit. Yeah. Relentless every turn to somebody new, plus somebody starting with Relentless. So in turn 1 you can have 2 fellows with Relentless, right? Because you can use regular dosage to start someone on Relentless, and then you can make someone else Relentless, and then much later on we'll discover a way in which you can have a 3rd operative with Relentless in turn 1 if that's what you really wanted to do. Good. I think you're always taking a Corpseman as well. The Commsman, again, lasgun, bayonet, boring. The signal action, pretty boring. 1 AP, select one other friendly operative, excluding the Ogryn, visible to him within 6 of this operative until the end of that operative's next activation, and plus 1 AP to its stat. Boring because we've read it so many times already, but not boring because it's not useful. An extra AP is very, very good. It just doesn't give us much to talk about. Then we've got Sacrilegious Actuation. Actuation. 1 AP, you gain a Bloodied token. Now, it's not that simple. This operative cannot perform this action while within control range of enemy operatives, or if it doesn't have one of your Bloodied tokens. So here I'm torn. Is the play in turning point 1 of the first strategy phase to give this guy a Bloodied token so that he can immediately activate and hand out another Bloodied token? Like, probably yes, but it does have the drawback that it means the Commsman has to be your super buffed guy who's retaining a crit and can be but given 3 APL with a command point in turning point 1. And you might not want that, right? But on the other hand, being able to get... No, eat my words, because you need 4 Bloodied tokens out before you can do the buffing thing, don't you? So yeah, you just always want to give your first Bloodied token to the Commsman, because he's not going to get... Because, you know, then you can get a second one out straight away, and then you can be up onto your... 4th Bloodied token. Hopefully you'll manage to get onto your 4th Bloodied token. Like, if if you start by giving him one in turning point 1, and he generates a second one in turning point 1, if you can generate a third one at some point during turning point 1 by having somebody die or by killing somebody, then you can have the 4th one at the top of turning point 2, and then immediately start to designate a guy with the buff. Right? That's got to be the plan. Always take the Commsman. Brimstone Grenadier. So again, we've seen this kind of thing before. Excuse me. Seen this kind of thing before. He's got the Grenadier special rule, just very briefly. He has frag and crack grenades for free. They don't count against limited uses. He has as many as he wants. And he hits with them on 3s. He also has his very own Diabolic Bomb. Okay, with 4 dice hitting on 3s. 4-3, range 6, blast 2, dev 2, limited 1, reposition only, piercing 1, saturate. I think his Diabolic Bomb is hard to use, but Explosive Demise. When this operative is incapacitated, you can use this rule. If you do, roll 2d6 or 1d6 if this operative is within the control range of an enemy operative. If any result is a 4-up, inflict d3 plus 2 damage on each operative visible to him within 2 of this operative. If this operative hasn't used his Diabolic Bomb, this battle you can do d6 plus 2 damage instead, which is pretty cool because the Diabolic Bomb is pretty hard to use because of that heavy reposition only, although, you know, it's not the worst thing. I really like these kinds of miniatures, especially when a team is generally hitting on 4s. I think giving a Grenadier the ability to hit on 3s is pretty cool. Yeah, he's a suicide bomber, which that's a thing we're comfortable with now, having back in our games. Okay, fine. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, here we go. The Gunner and Sharpshooter slide. You knew it was coming. Gunners are gunners are gunners. You're taking a melter gun and a plasma gun. And then you've got to choose between your grenade launcher and your sniper. Your grenade launcher is a common or garden grenade launcher, okay? So, 4 attacks hit on 4s, 4-5 piercing 1 with the crack profile. Contrast that with the sniper. So the sniper has a long las. A long las is interesting. Its mobile thing is pretty the same as all other mobile things that we've seen recently. But the stationary thing is interesting. So it's 4 dice, hitting on 2s, 3-3. It's only devastating 1. Heavy dash only. So, unlike a lot of people, stationary for the Sharpshooter means I can dash. And it's silent, and it doesn't have concealed position. So he can stay concealed the whole match. So what they're trying to do here with the long las is make a lighter sniper rifle and have a trade-off that says, hey, you've only got devastating 1. You haven't got devastating 3. Most sniper rifles have devastating 3, but you can dash and you can keep your silent for the whole game. It does a weaker damage punch, but it does have a lot more utility. He's got a camo cloak, so when you're shooting him, if you can retain any cover saves, you can retain 1 additional cover save. Not cumulative with improved cover save from advantage. Fine, good, useful, yeah. He also has an ability, Name Whispered in Blood, Strategic Gambit. In the first turning point, select 1 enemy operative. Whenever this operative is shooting at that enemy operative, treat this operative as if it has one of your Bloodied tokens is under gaze of the gods. A weird niche ability in the first turning point. I guess it's really there so that in the first turning point you can make your opponent worry about exposing somebody rather than credibly hoping to kill that person. But it's an interesting and funny little ability. I think you take the Sharpshooter over the Grenade Launcher, even though, you know, you've got the reduced damage. I think it's still going to come out slightly on top. But, you know, 4-5 piercing one is good. Honestly, if the Grenade Launcher was hitting on 3s, I'd probably say the Grenade Launcher. But because it's hitting on the sniper's hitting on 2s and generally in a 4-up team, I like the Sharpshooter, but you can argue it. You can definitely argue it. Let me know in the comments. Are you team Grenade Launcher or team Sharpshooter? Butcher. APL2, 6-inch move, 5-up save, 8 wounds as per. Power weapon and cleaver. I mean, I'm sure that cleaver's doing a lot of work. 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 4-6 damage, ceaseless, lethal 5-up blood offering. What's blood offering? Whenever this operative is fighting or retaliating with this weapon, the first time you strike with a critical success, during that sequence you gain a bloodied token. Now bear in mind, the bloodied token doesn't go on the butcher, it goes into the bloodied pool. That's how bloodied tokens work, so you can just keep earning more bloodied tokens with your butcher, which is pretty cool. Unholy sustenance. Whenever this operative is fighting or retaliating, if it incapacitates the enemy operative in that sequence, it regains D3 lost wounds. This is cumulative with the symbols of bloody worship equipment. We'll suck at that later, but this is a pretty good weapon and a pretty good operative. He can heal himself when he kills somebody. Nice, yeah. He generates blooded tokens, and his weapon's got a crit of 6 and lethal 5-up, and it's ceaseless. So, like, straight off the bat, it's pretty good. Pretty great. Never leave home without one. Yes. Doesn't have a pistol. Like, doesn't have a last pistol. It kind of annoys me when you have models that don't have a ranged attack, and we're about to see a lot more of that. Flenser. Look, a model without a ranged attack. So, he is another combat model. 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 3-4, ceaseless, and stalk. Stalk is whenever he's fighting or retaliating with his weapon. If light or heavy terrain is within control range, he gets lethal 5. It's like, honestly, this is just one of his really annoying rules. Just give him lethal 5, he wouldn't have been that broken. But fine, yeah, you're probably going to get lethal 5. You're probably going to be able to finagle him to be within an inch of some kind of terrain. Is what it is. Wretched, you can the operative can perform the charge action while it has a conceal order. If the operative is incapacitated during the fight action, you can strike with one of your unresolved successes before it's removed from the kill zone. This is the second best combat guy. He's not as good as the Bloodied, but you're probably going to take him anyway. He just doesn't quite have the damage that you want. Not the Butcher, but he doesn't quite have the damage that you want. But you're still going to take him. He's pretty cool, and being able to charge from conceal's pretty neat. Thug. The Thug doesn't excite me. I think a lot of this is to do with the fact that he's called Thug. I mean, if you call a character Thug in any kind of game, like, oh, I'm going to come at you with my Thug, right? Whatever you're charging with a Thug is expecting to win that fight, because, like, I don't know, it's just the most mooky designation for anything. I am a Thug. Okay, good. Why don't you just lie down on the floor and die, so we can get on with the game? No, he's not that bad. He just has a really embarrassing name. Thug. He has a heavy club. It's 4-4 brutal. Brutal's a pretty good weapon rule. He also has tough. So, again, it's this normal damage of 3, inflicts 1 less damage, and he doesn't have to roll a 5-up, he just gets it, which is, yeah, pretty good. He's gonna, you know, upset some people's, like, dice maths when they're working out, like, oh, well, if I just get a hit, I can kill him, and da-da-da-da. And he's gonna be like, well, yeah, no, except maybe not. You have to get more damage than you think. So, yeah, cool. Trench Sweeper, I don't really get this guy. I think this is the one model. I think we're at the end, aren't we? Yeah, I think this is the one model I'm leaving behind. Because he's a bit weird. He has a shotgun, which 4 dice hit on 3s, so it's like a +1 to hit versus their other guns, I guess. 3-3 damage, range 6. In a world where pistols have range 8, shotguns having range 6 just feels weird and sad. Gotta say. Bayonet and shield, 3x close combat weapon, 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, 2-3 shield. Whenever this operative is fighting or retaliating with his weapon, each of your blocks can be allocated to block 2 unresolved successes instead of 1. I mean, it's a good ability. He's there just to kind of gum things up for a bit, but you've got to drop somebody, and he's just pretty lackluster. And then he's got the ability shielding. Whenever this operative is activated, you can use this rule. If you do, until the start of the operative's next activation, subtract 2 from its move stat. Whenever an operative is shooting this operative, you can reroll any of your defense dice. My guy, if you were going to be prepared to subtract 2 from your move stat to gain a defensive buff, you could take a portable barricade, right, and have a 3-up save. Because he does have a 4-up save, I guess that's his other gimmick. But, yeah, meh. I'll just leave him behind, I think. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Who would you consign to the dustbin if not the trench sweeper? Oh, you can take troopers, you don't take troopers. It's a standard guy. It has group activation, which means that when you activate one, you activate two. I don't think you ever take them, because you have to drop the Ogryn or the Enforcer, who we're about to look at, to take the troopers instead. And yeah, you get an extra body. You don't actually get an extra activation, though, because of the group activation, which is mandatory, so meh. Some people I'm sure really like, oh yeah, but with group activation you can like wiggle the left nozzle's flange anti-clockwise and see into the matrix and then do all these things and win the tournament. But as a sort of lesser player, I prefer Power Fist or Ogryn Go Punch now as my strategy. I'm sure there's some really super wrinkly brain players with the GA2 guy with a lasgun, but not for me. Not for me. Enforcer. So this is your traitor commissar, right? So APL 2, 6-inch move, 4-up save, 9 wounds. Pretty nice. He's got a bolt pistol with 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 3-4 range 8, not bad, and a power fist, which is the point of him, really. 4 attacks hitting off 4s, 5-7 brutal, yes please. He's got Grueling Disciplinarian. Whenever a friendly Bloodied operative is within 6 of this operative, you can ignore any changes in that operative's stats from being injured, including its weapon stats. So he has an aura of ignore injury, which is pretty nice. Can't complain about that too much. And then a really interesting ability called Enforce. So for 1 AP, select one other friendly Bloodied operative visible to him within 3 of this operative. That operative can immediately perform a 1 AP action for free, but it can't move more than 2 inches during the action. And if it's selected a Commsman, it can't perform a sacrilegious actuation or signal. So you can't do the interesting things on a Commsman, but you can do unique actions. I quite like the idea of doing the unique action on the Commsman, on the Corpseman, sorry. Dyslexia there, especially in turning point 1, because then you can have another guy with Relentless for the whole game, which is pretty nice. Does take up one of your AP, that's true, but you could have given him 3 APL with your comms, I suppose, yeah. And then, you know, what were you going to do? Shoot with bolt pistol, like, whatever. Ogryn is for punch. Ogryn has APL 2, a 6-inch move, 5-up save, and 16 wounds, which is quite a lot. The Ogryn has 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 5, 6, rending and shock, which is pretty good. He also has Avalanche of Muscle. When he ends his move during the charge action, you inflict D3 damage on one enemy operative in control range, which is pretty good. He has Chem Enhance, so you ignore any changes to his APL, and he's not affected by shock and stun, which is pretty good. He has Brute, so when your opponent's setting a valid target, if the operative has a conceal order, you can't use light terrain for cover. Whap whap. Okay, but you'll be fine. And Slow-Witted, you must spend 1 additional AP for the operative to perform the pick-up marker and mission actions, excluding Operate Hatch. Now, that's really the clincher, isn't it? Because you're not going to take a Tac Op with mission actions anyway, so you just can't score your crit op with him. It's fine. You can slow open doors. It's fine. It's fine. It's not the handicap it used to be in the last edition. And you can buff him with the Corpseman, which is pretty nice. And he can protect his small friends with Dark Favour, in case you'd forgotten. And he has a 40mm base as well. So you just keep them within 3 inches of this Ogryn on this 40mm base, and then anyone that tries to fight them is like, I spent a CP, surprise, now you're fighting my Ogryn. Which I think is pretty funny. I don't know. Equipment, it's all really good. Chaos Sigil. The disquieting sigils carried by the Bloodied bend reality and thin the veil between real space and the ever-shifting tides of the warp. The reward earned Firefight ploy costs 0 CP. I mentioned this at the time, but yeah, always take it. Sinister trophies. The Bloodied adorn their armour with severed heads affixed to rusty spikes, cloaks and tabards of flayed skin, and all manner of other grisly trophies hacked from the corpses of their victims. Whenever an enemy operative is shooting against, fighting against, or retaliating against a friendly Bloodied operative that has one of your Bloodied tokens is within 2 of it, your opponent cannot re-roll their attack dice results of 1. I think that's a pretty solid, it's a little bit niche, you can't re-roll ones, but I think it's a pretty solid piece of equipment, actually. Because there are teams out there that really like this team, in a way, that really like re-rolls. So, yeah. Symbols of bloody worship. Desperate to garner the favour of malefic warp entities, the Bloodied will daub their armour with bloody runes and take risks to be imbued with malevolent power. Whenever a friendly Bloodied operative ends an action, if it wasn't incapacitated but inflicted damage on enemy operatives during that action, it regains 1 lost wound. That's pretty nice. Yeah? You end your action, if you did some damage, you gain a wound. Why not? That's your one weakness is wounds, after all. Wicked Blades. The ruinous powers respect nothing so much as the lethal arena of close combat, and so the Bloodied seek to plunge their wickedly sharp weapons into the flesh of their foes, and ones both damage stats of friendly Bloodied operatives, bayonet and shield, and improvised blade for the battle. And this is principally here to give your gunners a chance, right? Why not? I want to take them all in every game. And that makes me sad because I also want crack grenades, because I have 3 melee-only operatives, and at least having the threat that I could sometimes shoot with, 3 of my guys, I think is really helpful. So, maybe I'm looking into taking the equipment ploy, the equipment scouting option, a lot of the time with these, to get all 4 of these and the cracks. Yeah, but I like them all. And so if I was playing on Better Decimate and really felt I needed to take ladders and barricades and all this stuff, I'd be pushed. What would I drop? I guess you could drop Wicked Blades first, and then you drop Sinister Trophies, and then you drop Symbols of Bloody Worship, and then you drop Chaos Sigil last, probably. Tac Ops. So I've said it a few times during the presentation, but I really think you should take Overrun. So let's read Overrun. Overrun. Reveal when you first score VP from the op. Victory points once per turning point after the first. If an enemy operative is incapacitated by a friendly operative, and that friendly operative is wholly within your opponent's territory, you score a VP. Given that you have 3 different things that are get into your opponent's territory, this synergizes with that really well. At the end of each turning point after the first, if the total APL stat of friendly operatives that both fulfilled the above condition, at that turning point, regardless of scoring UVP, and are still wholly within your opponent's territory, is 3 or more, you score 1 VP. So, you do have to kill 2 guys, right? Which means that against Marines, you're probably not killing 2 Marines a turn with your Bloodied, right? Against Marines, maybe you take Champion, because then you only have to kill 1 Marine a turn for 3 turns. Or maybe you want to try Implant, right? Let's read Implant. That's the other one that they have natural kind of synergy for. Reveal when you first score VP from this Tac Op. Additional rules. Whenever a friendly operative is fighting, when you would resolve an attack dice, you can implant the enemy operative instead of striking or blocking, then discard the dice. Whenever a friendly operative is shooting an enemy operative within 6 of it, when you would resolve an attack dice, you can implant the enemy operative instead of inflicting damage with that dice. Each operative can only be implanted once and cannot be implanted during the first turning point. Victory points once per turning point after the first. If you implant an enemy operative, you score 1 VP. At the end of each turning point after the first, if any implanted enemy operatives are in the kill zone, you score 1 VP. It's fine. I don't like it because it makes you give up shoots and fights, and then it makes you not want to kill people. But it is something you can do, I think. And against Marines, where you might not want to commit to killing 1 a turn, maybe you go Implant. But I like overrun most of the time, yeah. Here's what I would take to start off with. A Chieftan with a las pistol and a power weapon, a gunner with a melter gun, a gunner with a plasma gun, the Sharpshooter, the Corpseman, the Commsman, the Brimstone, Grenadier, the Butcher, the Flenser, the Thug, and then the Enforcer and the Ogryn. Leaving at home on the bench are the Trench Sweeper, the Flamer, the Grenade Launcher, and any Troopers. Okay. Buying the team, theory you need 2 boxes. You can definitely make do with 1. You can run the list I just said out of 1. If you want to then have the flexibility to swap into any of those operatives I mentioned, the Flamer, the Grenade Launcher, the Troopers, that's when you need a second box. It is an expensive kill team, and you'd be buying a second box and getting like a whole second Ogryn and things that you didn't need. Look into if you can find them, like miniatures from Blackstone Fortress, especially if you're just after like extra troopers. I think there's even some flamers and grenade launchers in Blackstone Fortress, if memory serves, to bulk out your blooded team if you want those extra roster options without having to pay for that second box, because you're now at nearly £100 for 1 kill team, which is a bit sad. Final thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have I picked the right model to drop, or would you save the Trench Sweeper? If so, what would you drop in his stead? I mean, don't just comment and say the Trench Sweeper's awesome. You have to say, and I think this guy's less awesome. Otherwise, your comment's just like, I don't like making hard choices because they're hard. I like the look of these. I do. But they only have that thing going for them where they only have 1 year of classified left. Whether that matters to you or not, is up to you. What do you feel about the grenade launcher versus the Sharpshooter? I'm sure I've got it wrong. Come and tell me in the comments as well. And a big thank you for all my members, subscribers, and supporters. 2k subs is amazing. Come and join the Discord. Consider membership if you've got spare money. And just thank you for being here, subscribing. Yeah, wonderful. All right, guys, it's getting pretty late, although the clocks do go back tonight. Don't forget, in the UK. So, yeah, but thank you, and I'll see you again next time. Cheery bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Bye.